Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jam Bets NFL Week 6. The season is flying by. It's super enjoyable, but I am not liking that it's going so fast. So I am Tike, joined as always by the fantastic Mama Mia, who is on vacation right now, but still taking the time out to join us and give us all of her great insight. So we're gonna jump right into it. Today's video, we're gonna be talking about our recap from Thursday night football divisional matchup, Eagles versus the Giants. That game was a game, and then we'll be going right into players that we like to over and underperform for Week 6. So, Mama Mia, how are you doing? What are you thinking? How is Nashville?
Oh my God, this is such a great town. Yes, coming to you live from Nashville, Tennessee, the Grand Sheridan downtown, John Prine Week, seeing people I haven't seen in 40 years, and it feels like I just saw them yesterday.
Well, you were with them yesterday.
Oh my God, that's right. But I mean 40 years before that. We've had such a great time. This is a fun town. I like that alley place better than Broadway, whatever that um, alley place was. But we're just hitting a bunch of places, and my little buddy is dragging me all over. So we're having a fantastic time. But let's get down to business. The recap of the Philadelphia game and those New York Giants. Look out, they're for real. They're for real. I had projected Dart, or I had picked Dart to overperform, and he did. He was projected for 13.8 points. He actually had 23.6. He only threw for 195 yards. He was projected for 212. He did have one touchdown, which was projected. He threw 17. He completed 17 of 25. He ran 13 times for 58 yards. He was amazing, but so were the entire Giants team. And now they call him Prime Time Dart. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Um, my other overperformer in that game was AJ Brown. I said he had to have a breakout game, right? There was that big meeting and all that. He's been ranked 34th wide receiver. Year to date before this game, he was catching 19 of 36 for 194 yards, getting 39 yards per game, had one touchdown. So this week, Goddard still had more targets than him, and he was average. He was projected for 14.3 fantasy points. He had 14. He had 80 yards, which I thought was good. He was projected for 66. Still no TD. No TD. He caught 6 of 9 targets. That was better. But they could not get past those New York Giants. Brian Dable schemed a great game. Scadaboo is the most exciting young player on. I mean, him in prime time are just they dominated. They dominated the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, this was supposed to be the Eagles' get right game because the G-men have let teams go past them like buzzing angry hornets, allowing 237 passing yards per game. They're 26th in the NFL. It was reported that you could hear A.J. Brown after this game screaming in the locker room, "How the bleep did we lose to the Giants?" Oh my God, they are out of their mind. And they lost. They got beat 34-17. This was no fluke. I think the Giants are going to be a hard team to beat going forward. I really feel good about them. And Tyke, how did you do over the Thursday night game?
I did not do well on this game. I thought the Eagles were going to pummel them.
Yeah,
My
we all did.
overperformer underperformed. My underperformer overperformed. I had Wendell Robinson as my underperformer. He was projected 11 and a half fantasy points. I said no chance he will get that. He got that in the first quarter. That broken play, he had that 40-yard touchdown. He did it really in one play. He beat his fantasy mark. Take that out. He only had about 40 yards for the game. And then I had Saquon Barkley as my overperformer. They didn't really use him much. The game got out of hand. They pulled him out. He only touched the ball 14 times. He only had 12 attempts. He only ended with 67 total yards. Jalen Hurts continues to take his touchdowns at the goal line. I don't mind the tush push. I don't like seeing the tush push 5 straight times.
Mm.
You should only be able to run it twice in a row, something like that. You can't just. That was boring football. That was boring football. I don't. I did
That's
not like to
rugby.
see that.
That's not football. It's rugby.
At that point, it is rugby. 5 straight times of the tush push. They gotta fix that part. You can't just keep running the same damn play. Um, but all right, let's jump right into NFL Week 6. Got a couple players coming your way. Mama Mia, why don't you give one, and then I'll give one.
Super. Well, I hate to report this, and I just am very suspicious about what's going on with my friend Patrick Mahomes. I looked at they had a shot at the sideline. There's less than 2 minutes to go in that game. The Chiefs were up. Patrick Mahomes could not have been more disinterested in that game. He was like, whatever. I couldn't believe the demeanor of the Chiefs at that game. They just weren't, and then, yeah, they just weren't themselves at all. There's no energy in that team. Not sure what's going on. So Patrick's projected this week for 20 fantasy points, 260 yards, 1.7 TDs, one interception. He's passed for over 300 yards last week, and he was the leading rusher. So he's kind of trying to put the team on his back, but he's not. He's not happy. Something's weird going on there. This is a primetime Sunday night football game, though. He usually plays better. It is a home game. Um, the Against Philadelphia in week 2, he had 22 fantasy points. Against Baltimore in week 4, he had 27 fantasy points. So you think but there was no Lamar, and that defense was so banged up that I throw that game out. I think he's going to underperform. I think Detroit, who has given up 112 points, is gonna take the game into their own hands. They've had 6 interceptions so far, 3 fumble recoveries, and they're clicking on all cylinders lately. Except for the Cleveland game, they've given up 20 points. That's the only time they gave up 20 points. Okay. Um, Kansas City. It seems to me. There's my commentary. Kansas City, Baltimore, and Philadelphia seem to have a playoff hangover this year. They are flat. Their energy is really low, and they're playing sloppy without urgency. I don't know what's going on. Is it because of the longer season, or Philadelphia's really got my head scratching, because I mean they really don't have any injuries. I mean they should be just dominating, and they started out like they were gonna be, but they're they got some serious issues, and I don't know if it's play calling. Like you said, they're predictable now. It seems like Hurts doesn't want to throw the ball. I don't know what's going on there, but there's something weird going on. So, this is week 6. Week 6 to about 11, that's crunch time. You got to get the wins in now if you think you're going to make the playoffs. This is shake up or shake out time. So, we'll see if Patrick shapes up or shakes out, because this is it right here. And Detroit is no pushover. This will be a get your popcorn ready game for sure. Tyke, who's your first player this weekend?
So
Tomorrow.
so my first player, I'm also taking an underperformer to start. I'm taking Jalen Warren on the Steelers as my underperformer. His fantasy line is set at 15.2 PPR points. I think that is just outrageously high. He's only beat that line one time this season.
Mm-hmm.
He ended with 16 fantasy points, and it took him getting 86 receiving yards. He broke a 70-yard reception for a touchdown in order to get 16. And they're going up against the Cleveland Browns, who the Cleveland Browns are a really stout rush defense. They're allowing the fewest running back rush yards per game this year. They're only allowing 62.4 rushing yards per game. And then on top of that, Cleveland is also allowing the fewest yards before contact per attempt. They're not even allowing running backs to get 1 yard before they're initiating contact. So that's a stat I've really started liking a lot. And Cleveland might be giving up a lot of rushing yards, but they're not giving up rushing yards to running backs. Um,
Hmm.
And then on top of that, Gainwell last week in Jalen Warren's absence, Gainwell exploded. 19 carries, 199 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And what, Tomlin's just going to say, no, you're not going to get the ball anymore? Gainwell's going to be heavily involved. I expect that to be at least a 50-50 timeshare split. And
Really?
I just don't see Jalen Warren getting 15 fantasy points in this tough matchup, competing for volume, and it's already a line he's only beat once this year, and I think it was a fluke that he even beat it. So
Huh.
I'm taking Jalen Warren under to underperform this week.
Okay.
What do you got
All
next,
right.
Mama?
Well, my next player is going to be in the Bears going to the Washington Commanders game, which is a Monday night game. It is Ben's first Monday night game. He's had 2 weeks to prepare, but my player I'm picking is Bill Krosky Merritt, known as Bill. I forgot his first name. Last week versus the Chargers, he had 111 yards on 14 carries and 2 TDs. He caught both of his targets for 39 yards. He now owns the backfield in Washington. Eckler is out. Nobody else is really that good. So I think he's going to overperform. I hate to say that. The Bears have given up 164 and a half rushing yards per game, which is about 6.1 yards per attempt. They're 31st in the league. They are getting a lot of their defensive players back, though. So I think Grady Jarrett is the only one who's going to be out. So Bill's projected for 12 carries, 65 yards, 1 touchdown, 13.2 fantasy yards, 2 receptions for 12 yards. He's the 22nd ranked running back in the NFL right now. He has a scoring floor of 8 fantasy points, but I'm only saying he's going to overperform because I think Jaden Daniels may still be a bit banged up. I know he practiced all week, but please do not be fooled again and let him throw a Hail Mary. I don't care. I got my rosary beads. I'm invoking all the powers I can that you will win this game, Chicago. I cannot go through another season where Washington has knocked us out of the season. I cannot have it. I cannot have it. You've had 2 weeks to prepare. I know the line is big, but yeah, I'm gonna need therapy and drugs and all kinds of help to keep the sharp objects away from me if they lose this game, because I will be I need blood pressure today. Medicine. I definitely do. I'm getting ramped up. I'm sorry, Tyke. What did you have?
I'm very much looking forward to the game. I will be disappointed if the Bears lose, but I will be distraught if the Bears lose on some fluky bull crap. If there's another Hail Mary or a little toss around with no time on the clock and the Bears lose, I will lose my mind. Me and you will be in
Yeah.
the nut house together. Uh, the next player I'm looking at, I'm taking Jake Ferguson to overperform. Jake Ferguson has he's been the Cowboys' go-to guy. CeeDee Lamb is out as well this week. The Cowboys are playing the Panthers. And I don't really know why, but Jake Ferguson's projections seem very low to me. Jake Ferguson's only projected 45 receiving yards and on PPR. That's what he's showing on ESPN. Now, he is projected to have 7 receptions. So that's where he's projected to get most of his fantasy points. And he is projected half of a touchdown as well. But his receiving yards, getting 7 receptions and only 45 yards seems low to me. Ferguson's had 49 or more receiving yards in 3 of his past 4 games, and he's had 7 receptions in the last 4 games as well. On top of that, going against the Panthers are a pretty weak defense, and the Panthers are also a predictable defense, even for the Cowboys. They should be able to figure out the Panthers defense. The Panthers love the cover 3 defense. The Panthers play the cover 3 42% of all defensive plays. They just sit in the cover 3 all game. Jake Ferguson does most of his damage against the cover 3. Jake Ferguson is getting 2.62 yards per route ran. And against the cover 3, he has a 32% target share. So the ball's being thrown to him 1 out of 3 times against the coverage that the Panthers are going to be using all the time. And then on top of that, the Panthers are allowing the most receiving yards in the NFL to tight ends. They're allowing 80 receiving yards per game to opposing tight ends. Darren Waller just burned him for 82. Trey McBride had 79. I don't know. It just seems very low to me. Maybe it's a trap. Maybe the Cowboys get their butts kicked in. But even then, I see this path for Jake Ferguson to overperform. And then CeeDee Lamb being out, Jake Ferguson's going to be the security blanket, one less mouth to feed over there. So I'm taking Jake Ferguson to overperform. And I think he's going to overperform on the yard side. I think we're going to be good with his receptions. Maybe he'll get in the end zone. But I think the yards is where most of the value will come from.
I like that. I think he's having an MVP season. Dak really likes him, and he's got good hands. Yeah.
Yeah, the throws in the ball all the time. All right, Mama, you got anything else for us?
Oh, we got a couple of really good games this week, don't we? We got Detroit at Kansas City. We got San Francisco at Tampa Bay. We got those Bears going into crush the Washington Commanders. I mean, show that you're for real. Come on, Ben, this is your big night. This is your first Monday night football game as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I want to see you dominate this game. Yeah, otherwise Tuesday I'll be in the nut house. That's for sure.
Yeah, Bears need to get this one. This was probably our most disappointing loss last year. It'll be nice if Ben Johnson and the team can recover from this. I have a feeling a lot of the players are pissed off and looking forward to this game. This game's been circled for the defense for a while. So I'm looking forward to it.
Stevenson needs a pick 6 to make up for that Hail Mary.
I don't know if that would make up for it. It would help. I will say my closing remark, and I'm not one to complain about too much football. We don't need 2 Monday night football games. We need 1 primetime game to go ahead and watch for. 1 Sunday night football, 1 Monday night football, 1 Thursday night football, and then jam everything else in there at noon and 3 o'clock. We don't need two football games on Monday night.
It's long. And go Cubs, go!
Go Cubs, go!
Here we go.
It might we might have the Cubs on Monday night, and we might have the Bears on Monday night. Yeah, I'm gonna need a second TV.
Yeah, right.
All right, everyone, that's all we have. Good luck this week in fantasy. NFL Week 6 in the books. Bye.